This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
What has happened in Ahmedabad is a very tragic accident.
The airplane does have a warning system.
They are being moved out because it could be a dangerous place.
Do you know what crime he committed?
I'm not familiar at this moment.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Heartbreak beyond words. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. Those words from India's Prime Minister perhaps best sum up this morning's catastrophic air disaster there when an Air India jet with over 240 aboard crashed shortly after takeoff. Rander Jaiswal is with India's Ministry of External Affairs.
What has happened in Ahmedabad is a very tragic accident. We have lost a lot of people.
Aviation consultant John Cox tells the AP one early focus of the crash investigation will be whether or not that Boeing 787 Dreamliner was properly configured for takeoff.
The airplane does have a warning system that will advise the pilots with a horn as well as a message on a computer screen if the airplane's not properly configured for takeoff. The flight path of the airplane that has been released so far brings into question that.
One passenger reportedly survived the crash and told local officials he did so by jumping out of the plane. He says he heard a loud noise seconds after takeoff before that plane went down. The world watching the Middle East nervously right now, with reports indicating that Israel is poised for a major strike on Iranian nuclear targets, trying to thwart their efforts to possess nuclear weapons. President Trump acknowledges that the U.S. has moved some non-essential personnel and families out of harm's way, just in case.
They are being moved out because it could be a dangerous place, and we'll see what happens.
At a Wednesday hearing, Senator Lindsey Graham put this question to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
Mr. Secretary, have the Iranians been trying to build a nuke?
There are plenty of indications that they have been moving their way towards something that would look a lot like a nuclear weapon.
Another time Israel was getting ready to strike Iran, a U.S. leak by a former CIA analyst forced them to delay their plans.
34-year-old William Rahman pleaded guilty to 2 counts of transmission of classified information for taking plans for Israel's airstrikes in response to a massive Iranian missile attack. Rahman was stationed in Cambodia when he sneaked the documents out of the U.S. embassy there.
Fox's Gary Baumgarten. Well, the rhetoric flowed hot and heavy during a House hearing today on illegal immigration. 3 governors of so-called sanctuary states faced off with some lawmakers angered by those states' policies toward immigration enforcement. New York Democrat Kathy Hochul repeatedly grilled by upstate New York Republican Elise Stefanik on illegal immigrants connected with serious New York crimes.
Sebastian Zapita Khalil. Do you know who that is?
I don't have the specific details at my disposal, no.
Well, this is an illegal migrant in New York because of your sanctuary state policies. Do you know what crime he committed?
I'm not familiar at this moment.
He found a sleeping woman on the subway, lit her on fire, and burned her alive. This is in Kathy Hochul's New York.
Hochul, though, was highly critical of the Trump administration for dispatching the National Guard and U.S. Marines to Los Angeles to protect ICE agents. And more immigration fireworks in L.A. today. California Democratic Senator Alex Padilla handcuffed and detained by the FBI after barging into a news conference by Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and others about the unrest in Los Angeles.
Because the fact of the matter is, a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your
I also want to
heads off.
Video shows him being taken into a hallway outside, pushed face forward out of the ground, and handcuffed by officers wearing FBI vests. Padilla's office says the senator was in L.A. to perform congressional oversight of the government's operations in the city and across California. With Los Angeles set to host World Cup soccer just a year from now and the Summer Olympics 3 years from now, there was a Senate hearing about security concerns and the current chaos there. Oklahoma Republican Senator James Langford.
They're symbolic targets for those who want to do our nation harm, and we have to be prepared to stop attacks before they happen.
Retired Army Lieutenant General Reynold Hoover is CEO of the L.A. Olympic Games.
The L.A. Olympics will be equal to hosting 7 Super Bowls a day for nearly 30 days straight.
Dr. Gina Legand is a counterterrorism expert.
I urge you to not only examine the conventional ways the terrorists have attacked global sporting events, but also how technology might change their tactics.
The last time the U.S. hosted an Olympics, 2002, the Winter Games in Salt Lake City. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis raised some eyebrows when he said during an interview that Florida sides not with protesters who surround a car, but with the driver being threatened by that mob.
If you're driving on one of those streets and a mob comes and surrounds your vehicle, vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your safety. And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's their fault for impinging on you. You don't have to sit there and just be a sitting duck.
Numerous protests are expected around the nation on Saturday, which is also Flag Day, also the U.S. Army's 250th birthday celebration, and President Donald Trump's 79th birthday. Some health news: disturbing new data on the number of people dying from alcohol-related liver disease.
Researchers say the findings in JAMA Network Open underscore the urgent need for public health interventions, especially given the increases seen in alcohol consumption following the COVID-19 pandemic.
CBS's Christian Benavides. I'll end on a much happier note here. The U.S. Open underway in Pennsylvania, the third major event of the year for golf, taking place at the Oakmont Country Club just outside of Pittsburgh. Last year's winner, Bryson DeChambeau, entering the tournament. World number one Scotty Scheffler seems to be the favorite, though at last check on the leaderboard, American J.J. Spawn was on top in the clubhouse, 4 under par. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, highlights of today's compelling Faith Under Fire.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast for tonight. Partly cloudy skies will be comfortable. Low temps, generally 50s. For tomorrow, fair amount of cloudiness. Chance of a late day shower in New York. Couple of showers and thunderstorms reaching Pennsylvania. High temperatures ranging from the 60s near Lake Ontario, around 80 in central and eastern Pennsylvania. Saturday, mostly cloudy. A shower or two in parts of New York State, or numerous showers and rumbles in parts of Pennsylvania. High temperatures mid-60s to the mid-70s.
Thank you very much, Kevin. You're listening to Family Life.
This is Faith Under Fire. We take you straight to the voices on the front lines of religious battlegrounds. I'm news anchor Sarah Harnish, and with me today, Focus on the Family spokesperson, attorney Nicole Hunt. We're talking Pride Month. Focus on the Family just got labeled a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Tell me what's going on.
For the first time in our 48-year history as an organization, Focus on the Family was listed as a hate group, basically because we're faithful Christians who adhere to the teachings of the Old Testament and the New Testament and biological reality about gender and marriage.
This is really destructive language to put them on as a hate group, especially with the civil rights background in the United States. It has a totally different meaning to most people. Focus on the Family President Jim Daly issued a statement, and I love what he said. Quote, "Conviction makes us anti-sin, not anti-anybody." Are Christians homophobic and intolerant?
Certainly not based on our faith-based worldview. I mean, the truth is that just because Christians believe that men and women and male and female are objective realities and that sex creates babies and should be reserved for natural monogamous marriage, that doesn't make you homophobic or intolerant.
What is Focus on the Family doing after making an LGBTQ plus hate list?
Well, I'll tell you what, our first reaction was, what took them so long? Focus on the Family, we've been around since 1977. We're in our 48th year, and we have followed the same guiding principles in our ministry the entire time. We are intentionally created, one sex or the other, by God for a purpose, and it's a good purpose. Marriage is a covenant that God designed to model Christ's love for his people. And so these are things that Focus on the Family has been advocating for decades. We're glad that we finally made the list because we know that we're alongside so many other great organizations who are impacting culture for God's truth and for biological reality. Them calling us names, it really just doesn't bother us at all.
I love that you hold the line and hold the message and probably put a bullhorn to your lips during Pride Month of all the months.
It's an opportunity to talk about it and to remind people that we should not be afraid to speak the truth.
Are you seeing a shift nationwide after President Trump, in his inauguration speech, declared that the government recognizes two genders, male and female? Do you sense the climate changing?
Yeah, that's a really great question because it does appear that the actions of the current administration to push back against the cultural lies of LGBT ideology really is making a difference with the executive orders coming out, the current administration saying we're not going to accept this. In fact, we're going to pull funding. It has, I believe, helped Americans to have more courage to stand up and to refuse to perpetuate the lies of LGBT LGBT ideology. And I would caution that with a follow-up saying that it really is imperative for all Christians and truly any American of goodwill to continue to stand firm on those convictions. It really is imperative that the rest of us, and especially Christians, because we know the truth, that we stand firm, unafraid, and have courage to continue to speak the truth to a culture that really has believed the darkness and lies of our culture for far too long.
CNN is running a story this week, and the headline reads, "Big brands are pulling back on Pride merchandise and events this year." Do you think this is the new normal, or is this the new normal just during the Trump presidency?
I hope it's indicative of trending away from the lies of the LGBT movement. But I will say this, all of these businesses, their bottom line is they want to make money. And so it is imperative for the American people, and especially Christians, to continue to convey to these businesses that we don't want to do business that way. And if you're going to do business that way, we don't want to do business with you.
There are Christians that say, let them do what they want to do. Love is love. I won't bother them. They won't bother me. What's wrong with that statement as a believer?
For Christians, we know that if we love our neighbor, we're called to speak the truth to them. We also know that sin has eternal consequences. And as President Daley said, this isn't about calling out or hating any particular group. This is about hating sin. So there are a lot of fronts where we need to continue to press ahead, unafraid and with courage. And I'm really grateful for the organizations who filed lawsuits against those laws. But I think we can be hopeful that there are this just tremendous tidal wave of support about common sense biological truth that is sweeping the nation at the federal level. We find ourselves in a real culture war today. So we can be encouraged where we're making advances and then continue to fight where there are still fires on the front line.
Learn more at focusonthefamily.com.
Thank you, Sarah. Catch all of Family Life's original full-length features at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and at FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Have you ever made a financial error? We've all done it. Hi, I'm Rob West with today's Faith and Finance Minute. The kind of error I'm talking about is something like forgetting to pay a bill or typing in the wrong date when setting up a money transfer. But no matter your error, it pales in comparison to one made by a European trader working for Citigroup. The Wall Street Journal reported that he entered an incorrect figure while placing an order for a client. The result? A series of mistaken trades that ended up costing Citigroup, get this, $50 million. So when the time comes that you do make a mistake, don't be discouraged. God's grace covers more than financial slip-ups. His wisdom and mercy are available each day to help you walk in greater faith and stewardship. Connect with a certified Kingdom advisor who's been trained to deliver financial advice that aligns with your Christian values by visiting our website, faithfi.com.
Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, a mini dachshund proves her mettle in the Australian outback.
Despite the rugged beauty of this land, there's a sort of strange emptiness about it, a feeling of being so alone.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. We're heading into the weekend. Another round of some cooler than normal air is coming. With it will come some showers. The focus of the showers will be across, in terms of our region, Pennsylvania and neighboring Ohio and New Jersey. Farther north across New York State, there'll be a lot of rain-free time this weekend, so don't go necessarily canceling any plans just yet. The call for tonight is for partly cloudy skies. It'll be comfortable. Low temps, generally 50s. For tomorrow, fair amount of cloudiness. Just a chance of a late-day shower in New York. Couple of showers and thunderstorms reaching Pennsylvania. High temperatures ranging from the 60s near Lake Ontario to around 80 in central and eastern Pennsylvania. Saturday, mostly cloudy. A shower or two in parts of New York State, or numerous showers and rumbles in parts of Pennsylvania. A relatively cool day as well. High temperatures mid-60s to the mid-70s.
All right, thank you, Kevin. Finally at 5, maybe you remember the saga of Valerie, the little Australian mini dachshund who got lost during a family vacation on rugged Kangaroo Island. Despite a days-long search, the owner tells NPR they eventually had to give up.
The decision to leave the island was probably the hardest decision I think I've ever made in my life.
But they never gave up hope, and thankfully, neither did Valerie or island residents who set out traps for her, hoping they could catch her before some outback predator did. And 529 days later, they got Valerie, who survived, maybe even thrived. She actually gained some weight during that ordeal.
She's kind of come back
a little bit more independent.
She's got the physique of like a little bodybuilder.
Minnie Dachshund surviving 17 months in bush country has proven inspiring to those who followed her saga to its happy conclusion.
You know, if a tiny little 4-kilo sausage dog can survive on Kangaroo Island in the Australian bush, then, you know, you too can survive whatever it is you're going through.
The little dog that could. And that's the world we live in for Thursday, June 12th, 2025. Thank you again for joining us. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.